Welcome to Dead Reckoning in our Above the Pay Grade segment. Today we have a returning guest, except last time it was just for the audio podcast. So, for once, we actually get to see his beautiful mug on screen. Joe Baker, president and founder of Save the Storks. Joe, how are you?
Hey, I'm doing good. I'm excited to update you guys.
All right. Yeah, well, great to have you back on the show. Jay and I wanted to talk to you again. Well, there's a number of reasons. We love your organization, Save the Storks, and the last time you were on our show, it was a very popular segment. In fact, I think we even were able to raise some money for you. So can you just briefly remind us, or for our new viewers, can you tell them what Save the Storks is and what you do?
Well, first of all, I want to say that you guys have been extremely generous with our ministry, and it was a really blessing that you matched those donations last year, because that really worked, and you've got a serious audience out there to hit our system like you did.
Yeah, well, it was our pleasure to do it. We believe in it. So what do you guys do?
Yeah, so what we do is we're building a fleet of mobile medical pregnancy centers. We're helping pregnancy centers reach out and find women that are in a crisis. Right now, pregnancy centers are mostly kind of passive. They kind of wait for someone to make a call. They're mainly defensive, if you were to think of it as like a football game. Whereas we want to help them kind of go on the offensive, not in the sense that we would do anything, weird or
offensive.
Mean. Yeah. But what we're doing is we want to reach out. We want to take the mission and the movement and the resources of that pregnancy center and take them right out into the world. And going mobile does that.
Yeah. So you guys are creating and developing these really tricked out Mercedes-Benz vans that are just absolutely stunning, beautifully appointed, and you go and park them right in front of the abortion clinic, isn't that right?
Some of them. So there's 4 different mobile strategies, and one of those is sidewalk counseling, which of the 4 mobile strategies is the one that's least used. But we're trying to really bring that back and to redefine it and to represent it and to rethink it so that now it's a professional operation and it's not just a handful of folks out there, all on their own, with a megaphone and a sign. It's now a very articulate and carefully thought through process where we reach out to these women.
And you've had a tremendous amount of success, as I understand. How many mobile units do you have? How big is your fleet right now? And what kind of numbers what kind of a success rate are you finding out in the field?
Yeah, so I'll just go through and I'll tell you where the buses are, and we can count them together. Our first bus, of course, went to Dallas, and we're super stoked about that. That took us a while to get off the ground. Then our next unit went to New Jersey, and the clinic there. I don't know, have you seen the movie Give Me Shelter?
I have not. No, I should.
So the pregnancy center from Gimme Shelter is the ones who got that vehicle.
Great.
And so it's kind of a neat thing. So they in the first 2 days of their launch, they had 2 women choose life right on that vehicle, and so that was pretty exciting. Then after that, we launched 2 buses to Boston. Boston, Massachusetts is. They're talking about actually getting about 5 units, but they're going to start with these 2.
Wow!
And we're really excited about Boston and what's going on there. Then the next one after that is this month. We're driving one down to Florida, and they're going to be called the Gulf Coast Storks. And so we're really excited about that. They're going to be mainly doing sonogram delivery. They're going to work with 6 different pregnancy centers, and whenever a woman calls and says, "Hey, I can't make it to the center, I don't have any transportation, but I think I'm pregnant," they'll just drive the services right to them and say, "Hey, we'll meet you down the street at the local shopping center." And
wow.
Or if the girl doesn't mind, we can park right in front of her house. And so that's Florida. Then after Florida, we're doing Merced, California. We just got the wrap all done, and that's going to launch in March, mid-March, and we're going to have that at the Heartbeat Conference,
nice.
Parked inside the
venue?
Expo Center.
Yeah, that's great. Cool.
I bought the best spot there, and so we're going to show it off to 500 pregnancy centers. And then after that one, we're going. The next one is Michigan, And there's a whole bunch more after that, but we're right in the contract stage, and so I don't want to announce them yet.
Yeah, well, that sounded like seven, eight buses or something like that. All right, that's great.
Yeah.
And so the projection, I mean, you guys just continually adding more? What's it look like?
My projection, we're going to send out a beautiful. I got this idea from the Land Rover dealer. And
right.
We made these beautiful infographics about our stork bus, and then there's a beautiful cover letter, and it all comes in this really awesome like stork folder. It's all stork branded. We're going to be sending these packets to 1,700 pregnancy centers.
Wow.
And we've up until this point, we've only really advertised it on social media, so we haven't really even attracted a lot of pregnancy centers to us. Usually when I call them, they haven't even heard of us. And so all of these units that we're launching were all through word of mouth. Now we're going to go and
you haven't even begun, is what you're telling us.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow, that's amazing. I was at our local crisis pregnancy center here in Billings, Montana, and they had not heard of Save the Storks. So I thought that was amazing, and so I told them, well, you have to know who Save the Storks is, and passed that on to them. Now, my wife actually saw a stork bus. Now,
really?
I do not know how this is possible. One of your drivers delivering a bus got lost in Billings, Montana.
That's good.
She's driving down the street, and she says, Brian, I saw a stork bus, and the guy was talking on his cell phone like he was lost. So I thought that was kind of wild. He must have been delivering it somewhere. I don't know.
That's funny. Was that this summer?
Yeah, it was this summer sometime, yeah.
I think we were driving it out to a music festival or driving back from a music festival in Washington.
There you go.
And showing her off to a pregnancy center there.
That makes sense. Okay, so you guys have, I heard something about a walk across America or some kind of a promotion you're doing. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, so we've teamed up with the Life Runners, and the head of that is Pat Castle. You can go to liferunners.org and read a little about it, but they have helped us put they put together this relay where they have runners starting on the East Coast and the West Coast, the Golden Gate Bridge and the Brooklyn Bridge, and every day they're running. These people are running all the way across America. So every 5 kilometers of the United States is broken up into a relay where someone passes a baton. Wow. And then the next person grabs it all the way across America, made it in Sioux Falls.
Oh, that's cool.
And so we filled up about, we're about half full of all the legs. And so we're still trying to figure out how to generate just a little more support to finish those legs. What will happen is a lot of runners will do more than one leg to close all the gaps. But it's still a great opportunity if you want to get out and be pro-life. This is I've never heard of anybody doing any event like this. It's a massive endeavor. And you can walk if you want to. You don't have to run. You just have to pick a leg. And we're the beneficiary of it. And so if you want to raise support, we'll send you out a packet to do some fundraising. And you can basically fundraise and support us.
All right, fantastic. Now, Joe, I read an article recently that sort of goes right to the heart of your organization and what you do. You are in the business of providing sonograms to women who are trying to make a decision about whether to carry a baby or to abort their child. And recently there was a study, a much heralded study done, that reported that 99% of women are undeterred from having an abortion by viewing a sonogram. Now, my sense is that this is sort of preparatory work to try to combat mandatory ultrasound laws in various states. So this would be a study saying, hey, it doesn't really work anyway, let's not do it. But you're in the business of giving sonograms to women. Tell us, what's your reaction to a study like that?
Well, I have a couple thoughts on it. One is that I'm sure it's not an accurate representation of a sonogram, but at the same time, I wouldn't be surprised if most women at the abortion clinic who saw a sonogram would still go through with the abortion. And the reason for that is there's a lot of subjectivity to a sonogram, and there's a way to do a really, really good sonogram and a way to do kind of a poor sonogram of really looking at your baby and really identifying the parts and and getting to know this little guy. What happens on a stork bus is that the mission of the person on the bus is to actually bond mother and baby and actually help her get to know and connect with this little child that's growing. I mean, my wife's pregnant right now, and I mean, for me to see that 3-dimensional sonogram, I mean, I'm in this ministry, and and this is the first time my wife's pregnant. Yeah. It's kind of blowing my mind.
Congratulations, by the way.
I mean, I can't even get my head around it. This little baby's going to live forever, but even me, like, I think there are some, primordial like doubts in my head that there was a baby in there until we actually saw that sonogram. It was like, wow, this is amazing. It really like becomes real. But it takes the person who wants to make that connection to make that connection.
Right.
And the sonogram can do that, but it's not going to do that with someone who is incentivized to persuade you through an abortion. They could say, look, it's just, a blob over here. There's really not a lot going on. A sonogram can be a very subjective presentation, or it can be a very beautiful presentation where someone begins to talk about how massive this is. This little character is going to grow up and be a person of his own.
Wow. So, I mean, what you're really saying is that the sonogram is just a tool. And everything is riding on who's using that tool, who's wielding it, and for what purpose, it sounds like.
Exactly. And so I think the sonogram laws encumber an abortion clinic a little bit. They put a little barrier in there. They give a woman a little more time. They're definitely a cost to the abortion clinic. But as far I'm not terrifically surprised that turnaround rate is low, and even though I don't necessarily believe that statistic, I bet you it is pretty low. On our stork bus, it's about 3 out of 5 of these totally abortion committed women. These are women who are planning to have an abortion. They come on a bus and bond with their baby. They end up keeping it.
60%.
Yeah.
Wow.
And so that's pretty high. And pregnancy centers are presenting numbers upwards of like 90%. But the reason why I think pregnancy centers are getting such high numbers in the 90%, why we're not, is because they're predominantly marketing to pro-life people now. More and more women who are going to a pregnancy center are already pro-life. They already are in a support system of pro-life.
Right.
And that's the whole mission is, okay, let's get out and get to those women who aren't.
Well, that's fantastic. 60% is really high. So if somebody, this really is, I mean, one of the reasons, here at Dead Reckoning, we're big Stork Bus fans, is that this really is sort of the next generation in the pro-life movement. It's the baton has been passed. We were just talking about batons. We've gone from sidewalk protests and that kind of sidewalk counseling to this is the new cutting edge. This is much more positive than it is negative. It's not protesting anymore. It seems to me that this is very positively reaching out to these women, and a 60% success rate is something I think the older generation doing sidewalk counseling they couldn't even dream of numbers like that. So this is such an exciting ministry, and we really want our listeners our viewers, I got to get used to saying that, our viewers to support you. How can they do that? Where do they need to go to find out more about Save the Storks?
Yes, Save the Storks is a product of the generosity of many people, and we would not be where we're at today if it wasn't for people coming on our site, believing the vision, and giving. And so we ask for people to come on our site and try to at least commit to save one baby in a year, which is a commitment of $28 a month, and you just come to the website savethestorks.com. And you could just go to the give page. It's a fun little page now, and you could sign up, and we'll even send you some gifts if you do that.
Well, fantastic. Joe, people may not believe us when we talk about what big supporters we are of you, but last time you were on our show, you sent us some of those gifts. In fact, I have my wristband right here, my Save the Storks wristband. Jay's got his. I have literally worn this every day since the last time you were on our show, and so yeah, we love what you're doing, Joe. I thank you so much for coming on. I hope we can do it again. I hope we can keep in touch with you, and you can continue to give us updates with your exciting organization and ministry.
Yeah, and I'm super stoked that you guys are that passionate about it. I mean, I think you're the first person that I've seen wear one of those bracelets that far into the ground. So
yeah, I'll send you my address and you can send me another one because
we'll get you some more.
It's getting a little frayed here. So cool. All right, Joe, thanks so much for coming on the show, and all the best to you.
One other thing, make sure that you put into the comment box that you heard about it on Dead Reckoning. So I can thank these guys for putting me on the show.
All right, there you go. So if you go to SaveTheStorks.com, donate money to Joe and his organization, make sure you put Dead Reckoning TV in the comment box so that he knows who sent you. Thanks so much, Joe.
Cool. Catch you later.
All right.